I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and the World Cup of Carcassonne has concluded last week with the victory of Team China. So now we will be taking a break from a proper broadcast and going back to more casual Carcassonne content. So today I'm resuming the weekly episodes of Carcassonne, or casual Carcassonne and AZUL game against viewers, or against view, against anybody who signs up with, of course, commentary and all that. We already have our first challenge in the chat from Devaka with AZUL. Ideally, I try to alternate Carcassonne and AZUL. Try to put an equal number of games in the stream, so you can sign up by just leaving a message in the chat or sending an invite on Board Game Arena, or both. Better if you're the one who leave a message in the chat, and I am going to send you a invite on Board Game Arena myself. Wait, no, Carcassonne, that's wrong. Well, please don't take that out of context. Okay, so I'm gonna invite Devaka here, and I'm streaming this with a 1 minute delay. So whilst the 1 minute passes, I want to show you another reason why I want to resume these Carcassonne and AZUL streams, is because we have ourselves the schedule of the 30th Mindsports Olympiad in person in London, happening soon enough. That's at the end of August, so 2 months from now, and I'm playing in 3 events. I'm playing Catan, I'm playing, well, possibly some chess. I'm playing Carcassonne, I'm playing 2-player Catan, and I'm playing AZUL. So I will be there in London for the first 3 days of the Mindsports Olympiad. If you want to come say hello, if you want to play something yourself, especially, of course, the 2-player Carcassonne or the 2-player AZUL events. And to maintain proper form, of course, I have to keep practicing for those events as well. So we're going to be starting with AZUL. Devaka is going to be our starting player. And isn't this interesting? Yeah, by the way, Devaka is a fellow YouTuber in Ukrainian, typically covering Carcassonne broadcast of mostly Team Ukraine, but sometimes other teams. So for those of you who understand Ukrainian, recommend his channel a lot. Has a lot of passion and a lot of cool guests. Okay, some new things with the interface. Look at how shiny my name is. I'm not sure why is that it's intended to be that way, but we've got to get used to that. Okay, so our opponent starts with 3 reds here. On one hand, that's reasonable. On the other hand, I don't think it's a great move, because it's sort of, if you build 3 reds over here, I guess your intention is to start with the outer column. But there's just not so much material here for the outer column. Like, there are barely any yellows for row 4, for example. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll just try and do a more traditional response. I'll start with the reds at the bottom. I'm also threatening to complete the reds, because let's say if yeah, you see there are 2 more reds, and so if I'm going to take them, I'm going to have my row 5 ready. And then well, yeah, but if my opponent were to have taken these 2 reds, then there would have been an additional problem for them. Like, they would have made 2, they would have given me back 2 whites, which is arguably even worse. So yeah, I think we're gonna be starting this one with a slight advantage. I'll see, there might be some issues. So basically, my opponent can pressure me quite hard, yeah, on row 2, and this is a little bit unfortunate. Well, what can we do? What can we do? Do I take these, or do I take... I think I'm going to just take the blues. Okay, no. I got to think about this one harder, right? So ideally what I want, of course, ideally I want these blacks on row 4. But if I get these blacks on row 4, my opponent gets 2 blues in row 2, and then I can't have nothing for my row 2, and this certainly would be quite unacceptable. So then we need to forego row 4, which is completely fine. But then what do we do? What do we do afterwards? And how exactly do we pick off these? Yeah. Okay, let me try to think clear. Okay, so if I take these blues, my opponent takes the blacks, and it kind of very nicely fits into their column. And then I guess I take the whites, my opponent takes something else, and then I take like one yellow or something, or one red. This is not too bad at all. On the other hand, if I take the blacks myself, then this forces my opponent to take the blues, which is a little bit more disruptive. And maybe it's a good thing that it's disruptive. Maybe it's a good thing, actually. Then I take one white, he takes one white, I take one gold or something. I guess the main question is, what is more important? Do we try and create a more coherent line, or do we try to disrupt my opponent? And I think disrupting my opponent is more interesting. The main reason behind this is because I want to use blacks for row 2 as early as possible, because the way this board is setting up, I'm actually might be starving for blacks. Because my opponent needs 5 blacks on row 5 for the middle column to which he has shifted. I will struggle to get 4 blacks for row 4. But eventually I will need 7 blacks. I will need 4 blacks here, 1 here, and 2 here. And so I better complete this goal as early as possible. So that's what makes me want to have the blacks covered as early as possible. Not sure about taking the one white there. That might be viewed as somewhat greedy, but I think it should be just fine. Yeah, I think it should be fine. And the idea is that I will try to build my row 2 from the right into the middle, and I will try to build my second column from the bottom to the top for maximum efficiency. I don't know, something like that. Do let me know in the chat if you would have taken the blues instead. I kind of think it's a bit stronger. Oh, look at this, I lead by 1 point. Okay, so not a great run out for me, because my opponent can deny me row 3. They can deny me row 3, all right. Actually, not a great run out at all. Very few blacks, but the absence of blacks hurts my opponent just as much as it hurts me. Yeah, I can see that, I can see exactly what they're doing. But well, I mean, I might as well just try and get myself the starting player token, perhaps. Yeah, I want to force my opponent's hand. And then I want to take these blacks, but not for row 4. I want to take them here. Because I think I can put something else in my row 4. Yes. Okay, this is a bit weird, but just trust me on this one. Just trust me on this one. I'm going to build as efficiently as possible. Row 5 is being used just a dumping ground for tiles, really. I need to keep row 4 free for eventual blacks. And the whole purpose of this round, the whole advantage that I'm trying to gain, is I'm trying to either make my opponent discard a lot, or I'm trying to make them forgo row 1. And they chose the discards. They have a lot more squares completed over me. They have 7 completed squares. I only have 5. But I do have 4 extra points and the starting player token. I think it's worth something. Also, it does help to get a decent run out with all these whites. Okay, this one we're going to need to think quite hard. So, for row 2, we're filling it with gold. That makes a lot of sense. For row 5, we're trying to get more whites. Maybe I get like a couple of blacks for row 4. I will get 1 white for row 3 eventually. Let's just start with this and see what they respond with. Right, very high self-evident. Okay, the most recent master, Hulking Dongya from China, wants to have a challenge. Great, and also Secret Star. I assume both of these are Carcassonne. Am I correct? And I will, I think, grabsy myself 1 more starting player token. I think will be quite good. Because I need a lot of blacks, my opponent needs a lot of blacks, and chances are in round 4 they're going to be a whole lot of blacks. And that's why it's important to have the starting player. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So Sergey realizes that it's actually quite difficult to deal with all these whites. Okay, let me try to explain this. So I think this is the reason why I didn't particularly like this move by Sergey. I think it was a bit too committal. I think what Sergey should have done, they should have attempted to complete row 3 for themselves, either with whites or with gold, and they could have kind of guaranteed themselves this. Now, I don't think they will be completing the row 3 at all. They will be having themselves a very efficient row 2, the most high-scoring row 2. And they're probably going to end up having a blue on row 1, which also will be quite high-scoring. It will be a mistake if they take a red for row 1, because I think it's a little bit too disruptive. Okay, this is very smart. They're now forcing my hand. But they chose not to do that. Yeah, okay, so they decide to do this. I have to, of course, take the white, and it's good for both completing my row 1 and for... It's good for both completing my row 1 and for... what was I going to say? Denying my opponent the row 3. Now Sergey takes the 1 black for his first row, which makes a lot of sense. Now I'm in a bit of a dilemma, because I could take the 2 blacks for my row 4, but then I really don't want my opponent to have blues in row 5, because he can use this thing and threaten a column over here. I don't want him to be able to threaten 2 columns. I don't want to give him 2 blacks either, but it's just 2 blacks. It's not all that much. There's so many blacks remaining more in the deck. I think it's going to be just fine. I only need to have 4 more. The only question is, do we go here or do we go here? And I think we sacrifice a couple of points, 2 points to be exact, just to have more flexibility. I think this is what we should do. We could also go here, and we could have still the blues in row 5. And we could still have the blues in row 5, right? Just just to be there. I don't think I really need row 5 for all that much else, but you know what? I feel like that way I'm saving myself just more future trouble, so I'm going to sacrifice the 2 points. And I feel like in the last round, I will be... Oh, like that! Oh, like that. So he doesn't want to... He wants to build that column. Well, do I just let him? That is interesting. I mean, I might just have to let him. Yeah, you know what? I don't really want to take the reds, because if I take the reds, I will block this here area a lot. On the other hand, there is like a remote chance of me being able to threaten complete color with reds. Yeah. That is tricky, isn't it? So basically, I'm thinking whether it's worth taking these 3 reds and going over here, just to deny my opponent the reds. And to maybe not try build any columns and just go for complete color here. But are there even more 4 reds in the deck? There are. But my opponent is not going to let me take all of them, right? Because there's all these things that he needs. How many reds are there? Actually, I think there might be exactly 4 reds remaining in the deck. So that is not great. Okay, I'm gonna let him have 1 column, I think. I think this is what I'm gonna do. And I just hope that Sergey gets like a lot of stuff on the floor line. Maybe that's how I win. And my next round will be devoted to just trying to hoard as many blacks as I possibly can. Also, I should be ahead based on my adjacency bonuses and all that. Yeah, so 2 points I am ahead. Again, wait. I can just deny my opponents the reds, right? I can just deny my opponent the reds. That would be quite interesting, no? I can just do... I think I can just do this. And I can just leave them without their row 5. I don't think there are enough reds in the deck to complete their row 5. And I will let them have this. But I think there's now a chance how I get myself 2 columns or something. I think I legit might have a chance to get 2 columns. I'll just need to think about whether I need... I'll just need to think whether I need... Okay. This sounds weird, but let me try do this. Okay, let me now do this. Yeah, my opponent is forced to go here. And now, let me try maybe that? Yeah, the point is I'm trying... Oh, no, of course. This is what I gotta do. This is what I gotta do. And then I just need to decide whether I complete column 1 or whether I complete column 5 or whether I complete column 2. I'm going to forgo column 2, so actually I'm going to end up not getting the blacks, but I will just complete column 5 instead. Yeah, this is also one of those moments where it's interesting how my opponent was kind of low-key threatening column 5 all the time, but because of these blues at the bottom, I ended up the one who would likely have column 5. I didn't double check if there's a sufficient number of yellows, but I'm sure there is. Like, we haven't really... Yeah, there they are. There were 4 yellows. And yeah, told you, there wasn't a sufficient number of reds in the deck, so unfortunately for Sergey, they will end up being barely able to complete their well, to complete anything pretty much. Yeah, here comes the red, which they need. I'm not in a hurry to complete my row 4. I can do this a little bit later, of course. I also am not in a hurry to complete my row 2. I am in a hurry to complete my row 1 because I want to prevent the blues from being merged in the center. And eventually I will need 3 blues over here and 1 blue over here. Okay, so my opponent is going for row 4. I am just going to do this. I'm going to let them complete the row 3. There are some reasons why I chose to do that. This is not like necessarily fully correct, but I don't really have time to calculate all this. I think it actually is correct because my strategy for round 5 is I'm just trying to prevent myself from dropping too many things in the floor line, and I'm still gonna have extra rows and a column compared to my opponent. Also now they will be forced, yeah, they realize this, that they will be forced to discard quite a lot. I think they will be forced to discard quite a lot no matter what. Yep. Wait, how do we do this? Oh yeah, this is even better. Look at that. Look at that. We get the same number of points, but we also get our opponent to discard more. They will be discarding 6 points. I'll be discarding just 1. And there they are. Okay, that was a very interesting game. I hadn't done this in a while, so I'm not sure if I did a great job explaining, but I am happy about some of the decisions here. So for example, I'm quite happy about getting these blacks here in row 2 earlier on, where I had to decide between disrupting my opponent's synergy and advancing my own goals. I figured that disrupting Sergei's adjacency potential, like here on the right, was better, and this turned out to be the case. And then at the end, I was quite patient with these heroes. I realized that I was able to disrupt my opponent's plans to complete row 5 just because how few reds there were remaining. So this was a crucial move. And in addition to just scoring a couple of points and disrupting my opponent's column 5, which would have been sufficient enough to win, then also suddenly the pivot from column 2 to column 5, this is what helps us seal the deal. Alrighty. So next we have Carcassonne, and I think in order we have, well, at least I'm gonna go by how you'll say in order. Let me just get this right. Holkin. Yeah. The most recent Chinese master, Ho Qin Dongya. Self-evident, saying 3 blacks is the wrong move. Should be 1 black to the move 5. Ah, was there a chance how I let my opponent discard more? Yeah, it's a possibility. Thank you for pointing that out. Anyway, so now Carcassonne. They are the starting player. Yep. Hi, Ho Chin. Good luck and have fun. They're the starting player. What do we do with that? What do we do with that? This is a normal way to just start a new road. I do quite like this. It's a bit weird, but it's a way to start a new road and also open an attacking platform against my opponent's city. It has some disadvantages. For example, my opponent has some road tiles which they can easily play, like they can go here and equalize my road. But then if they do that, they also start restricting their city a little bit. Okay, so they get the first monastery of the game. Not sure if I like how the road is pointed, because like indirectly it could be used to continue my road. In any case, my move is pretty obvious. We have to equalize the monastery and also start putting some pressure on the city as well. Okay, so they get some city tiles. I think I want to go here and start disrupting them a little bit. Yeah, because ultimately this is my road, and I'm much more likely to get a curve here before they get a city plus road tile over here. So by the time this square is filled, I will probably be already controlling this road with my meeple, and they will be forced to give me an extra road point upon the completion of my city. But now we're changing plans. We're now trying to to block them, and this is really not great. They do in fact get a city plus road tile before I get a turn, and this is the best tile. They get to finish their city, and they even get to equalize my road. And well, a lot of tricky things are going to now be an issue. I mean, I'm down 10 points. It's pretty normal for the start of the game. I have a good tile in hand. They don't have a great way to start a new city. They have a decent way to start a new city. Yeah, that's one of them. But it might actually affect my move. Maybe I should go here and start already attacking their city a little bit. I think I should go here. Initially, I was planning to do this, just taking 2 points. And honestly, this is actually quite a good move, because I think I might disrupt this here square a little bit. But I really like the idea of disrupting a city like that. And I also like the idea of trying for a longer road in this here area. And of course, my opponent notices it and does not allow me to do that. Okay, I'm going to have a shorter road, and that's also fine. But I'm going to shorten their road in response. So, you hurt me, I hurt you. Yep, that move makes a lot of sense. Finishing their city. I will also finish one of my cities. I'm not sure which one it should be. Maybe this one? No, I think maybe this one. Just because it's the least safe of the two cities. Let's see what red does here. I can actually see some interesting solutions potentially. They could take 3 points, and this is the default move, 3 points here, 3 points here. But they also could have considered going over here, prolonging their city and entering into unpleasant mini-battle with me. I can also take 3 points, but this city looks so juicy. I think I really want to try and create some significant threats. I don't know, this city just looks so good. So good. If they don't get city tiles, then they can quite easily lose. Because like all I really need is like, oh no, they found the best move. They found this lovely, this annoying restriction of this square. It's gonna hurt me quite a lot, actually, quite a lot. Yeah, but anyway, so my point is I might try and build the city quickly enough. If they get road tiles for a couple of turns and I get city tiles, they might not be able to attack me. The city already has 5 points, which is 10 potentially when it's going to be finished, so it's quite a lot. And I, in the meantime, will try to hurt some of my opponent's meeples. They are invading one of my cities. I think they're invading the wrong city. I will now be able to invade the road. And try also block his monastery. I think this would be quite useful for me. So probably if I'm black, I might actually try to protect that square. Which they do. But then again, they spent a valuable city cap. So that is something. What can we do? I can go no, I don't want to go here. I don't want to... I think I should go here. Yeah, I should start blocking his city perhaps. Because eventually I want to be able to get out of this situation by getting a starting tile. And then getting my road meeple out. And I want to be able to do it without helping his city. So I think starting to block the city at the top is yeah, static noise. Sorry about that. Yeah, it took me a long time to just have a look at the chat. Let me know if it is all right now. It should be all right now. But yeah, anyway, so I'm trying to block my opponent's city, and then eventually I will be the one who has to fill this square. Okay, this move is interesting. It kind of changes my plans a lot. I was thinking of just going over here, but now that my opponent has spent another meeple, I'm not in a huge hurry to finish my city. Anyway, so I could go here. I could just try and build up my city using the fact that my opponent only has one meeple and they can't really attack the city reliably. But I think maybe going here makes a little bit more sense because I am getting a point by equalizing my weaker city with my opponent's stronger city. And I'm also decreasing the quality of two of my opponent's squares. I'm actually starting to threaten this road. And I'm also starting to threaten this city a little bit, just a little bit. So I think I'm going to do this in the first instance. Yeah. And now my opponent's going to have a bit of a tougher time. They do get a good tile that allows them to continue their city. I get a monastery, and I know maybe it's not in my interest to fill this square because I'm helping my opponent a bit more than I'm helping myself, but 7 points are 7 points are 7 points. I think it's just too good. I think I have to go for it. Yeah, look at this. My opponent's trying to block me. I won't let them. It was a good block. It was a decent block. And it forces a bit of a concession on my end. But also when they do all this stuff, they kind of spending points of their own. Okay, so now I can go here and restrict my opponent to a city plus road tile. That would be quite useful. They need city plus road tiles in quite a lot of places. The quadruple city tile. Okay, this is great. This is great. I get a city plus road tile again, and I think I have to finish my monastery. I don't have a meeple to get points, but you know, it's whatever. It's whatever. Right, trying to remedy the static noise a little bit further. Hopefully it's decent enough at this point. And I think I'm going to make something unusual. I think I'm going to go here. I'm going to risk my opponent finishing a reasonable sized city. And I'm going to finish my monastery and even going to drop a farmer here. And my logic is that my opponent needs city plus road tiles in several areas, and they might just not have enough time to finish all of their cities. And also, I'm actually drawing pretty well. I am getting myself a couple of city plus road tiles in a row. I got myself the monastery, and honestly, my position now looks pretty good. Okay, so now another possibility. I could go here, take some points, block my opponent. I could go here and prepare myself to finish this city. I think going here is a little bit better and a little bit stronger, just because I would be restricting my opponents' city so severely. But look at this, they are in fact getting the one and only tile that way they need to properly continue. But it's fine. What I'm gonna do, I'm just going to build up the cities that I already have, and I'm gonna hope that my opponent simply does not have enough meeples to attack all of my cities. And also, I'm gonna hope that I will, in time, manage to get something that restricts this square. And still, I'm quite a bit ahead. I'm also now going to go here and set up one of the 3 remaining triangle tiles that could allow me to complete this city. My opponent is trying to block, which means that it would be unwise for me to go just here normally. Like this. Yeah, but I really have to go here, I think, in order to save my city. I think it's just worth too much. How exactly do we do it? So if we go like this, we'll leave our opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh! There are only 2 curves remaining to block, so maybe we do this. There are only 2 curves remaining. And there's also 1 dagger tile remaining to block, like this, right? So there are 3 blocking tiles, but de facto only 2 blocking tiles because the 3rd one they need for their own cities. There's also a road monastery which could be used for blocking, but if they spend a road monastery tile for blocking, I guess this is sort of kind of good for me. If we do this, they could block with a Dorito tile. Yeah, and that would be actually quite problematic if they block with a Dorito tile. Because there are no triple city tiles remaining, this means that any orientation like this with a city tile towards the center would be a permanent block. So we can't really afford that. So I think this time this is the best defense. And well, I guessed correctly. My opponent, in fact, did have a Dorito tile that could have blocked them, that could have blocked me. Now they will not have such luxury. They instead continue their city, which makes a lot of sense. I get a monastery. I think it's unwise to meeple the monastery, although I'm not exactly sure. It might be okay. I think the best course of action for me is just to go here and try to break my opponent's city. Yeah. Wait, but what do I need meeples for even? Maybe quick points, that's about it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to overthink this. I think that you just shouldn't meeple monasteries with your last meeple in general, so I am... I'm just going to go here. They get a tile which they use to protect their city. But I guess now I can try and go here and block their city. I think this would be a good idea. And they do not get a defense tile. There are in fact very few defense tiles. And they don't even, I think they're a bit chickeny, like they're a bit behind. They should really have started the city with the last meeple, I believe. It was very, very safe. There are plenty of city caps remaining, and most of them are city plus field city caps. Now I think I get to finish my city and kind of clinch, almost really clinch the game. And it's even a question if I go with a second meeple on the field or not. I think not yet. I think it's nice to just enjoy meeples in hand for a while. My opponent does finish a city of their own. Now I'm going to be trying to be aggressive and threaten a city over here. There are plenty of city caps, and yeah, you see, so they're now spending energy on protecting themselves, whereas the same energy perhaps could have been spent on blocking my city instead. I think now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go here and try and prevent my opponent from invading my city. I think this could work well, and look at this, it does work well. They cannot invade my city. They can try and block it, which they should, but they will be forced to do so by directly adding points to my city, not something that they would particularly enjoy. I am still 7 points ahead. My opponent has an 8-point monastery, so they're ahead a little bit, and they have an extra meeple. Yeah, this move is annoying, but I still have one city cap that goes here, so that is quite nice. My opponent has one Dorito tile that goes here and frees up the city, which is not that great. Anyway, I have one meeple. I should be just taking quick points, taking it easy. My opponent gets a city cap, starting tile. They can start a new city somewhere. I think the best course of action for them would be to maybe go here and restrict my city even further. I am fine with that. The purpose of this people is just to create threats. It's already worth 6 points, by the way. 6 points is equivalent to the last unoccupied feature on the board, which is this here 6-point field. Yeah, I can also need to remind you that I have this 12-point field as well. So this is indeed quite annoying for my opponent. I don't have any good moves with a straight line. I could, in theory, go here to continue my field, but actually I don't have an interest in continuing my field. It's worth 12 points for our meeple. I want to keep it as contained as possible. So I'd rather just go here and try to create an attacking platform against my opponent's city. I think this is my best course of action. Yeah, let's do just that. They do, unfortunately, successfully complete their city, which is the only reasonable move that I can see. And I think if they do that, then this is where we get creative. I think I'm about to spend my last meeple. I think I'm gonna go here and go on a 6-point field, and the reason for this, it is the most valuable unclaimed feature on the board. And if my opponent gets the one and only city cap that fits over here to free up their monastery, this field will be turned into a 9-point field, and this is not something that I want to happen. And I still have decent chances of drawing something that fit here that would finish our shared road and just give a meeple back to all of us. So I'm doing this. I'm doing exactly that. It might have downsides, I know, but I do feel that I'm ahead enough in order to afford to do things like that. My opponent gets the last city cap that fits into this square, so my meeple here is officially trapped. I guess the one disadvantage of, well, one of the disadvantages of spending my last meeple like that is that I won't be able to deal with threats that my opponent can create without investing a meeple. So, for example, now they could just drop the city cap anywhere, and I would not be able to do anything about its eventual completion. On the other hand, I do really like being proactive with the field and not allowing my opponent finishing the monastery with a 9-point farmer. And at the moment, I have 6 points extra on the scoreboard, 6 points extra on cities, and 18 points extra on the fields. So it's like 30 extra points. Yeah, okay, so my opponent starts a new city and starts a new field. What does that move do exactly? I'm not sure. Maybe it meant to be... I think it might have meant to be a misclick. Perhaps it was an like it was a different orientation. Now I will finish the shared road, and I will just get a meeple back, which is quite important for me. They get a straight line, and very limited options as to what they can do with a straight line. I'm still ahead the same number of points. Yep, they drop a farmer, which makes a lot of sense. Now I need to decide between cleaning off a city cap from my opponent over here, or just actually trying to complete my own city. Which honestly, I think trying to complete my own city is stronger. It's just stronger. Like, it's so annoying to deal with, yeah. And my opponent now needs to choose between blocking my city and taking 7 points for themselves. They also could finish my monastery, but actually wouldn't do them all that much because they would be also helping my field. And that's why it was important to be proactive with this field as well. So I think maybe just 7 points for them is the move. Or maybe going here is the move. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so look at that. They actually go for the block, but the block, but for the block they spend so many points, which leads me to be able to just keep scoring and scoring and scoring. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can even complete my city. Oh, this is just vile. I believe if I go here, I still have a chance to get the last remaining vanilla city cap and actually complete my city. That would be certainly most entertaining if that occurred. But I'm not even sure if going here is the best move. It's the most fun move. Well, yeah, okay, they're trying to invade my farm at the bottom, which makes, of course, a lot of sense. I think now I'm just gonna go here and try to complete the city anyway and see if that works. And if it doesn't, well, then it doesn't. Yeah, and it doesn't work, and that's fine. I also lose a couple of points. Like, I score, I think, 1 point fewer than I could have. They will successfully invade my 6-point field at the bottom. So that's good for them. But actually, it's not really good for them because, okay, this move is worth 6 points, but if they were to just go here, this move would have been worth 7 points. So, I don't know. They will be able to complete a road here. Yeah, for 4 points. Not complete, but to occupy a road for 4 points. And I will end up winning this somewhat unexpectedly. I felt that the beginning was pretty bad for me. They started with some quick points. They got quite a lot of city plus road tiles. Then they managed to control my monastery and road here. But then suddenly we drew this monastery over here. We picked up this here city, which I think was left unattended for too long by our opponent. I felt that red really should have and could have actually invaded it many times. For example, with this here move, red could have just placed his meeple over here and prevented all of that from being completed. Then eventually with this here tile, I ended up inadvertently helping my opponents complete a sizable city of their own, but I got so much out of it. I got meeples back and I got a 12-point field like it was nothing. And then, yeah, managed to overcome the deficit. A very interesting game. A lot of blocking attempts, and I think some of them really good, especially with this here one. But somehow just managed to escape. Of course, it also helps that my opponent never drew this here tile for this here area. But you know. Self-Evident is asking, what is the biggest mistake? The wrong invasion of that triangle that get blocked finally. Okay, so actually, I didn't say about a couple more things. There was also, I think this here move might have been a mistake as well. Because from Red's perspective at the time, had 2 cities restricted, one towards, and both were restricted towards city plus road tiles. And what Red could have done, they could have just placed this Dorito tile to the bottom city, recognizing just how many city plus field city caps there are. So creating the threat of using a city plus field cap statistically, like productively, it's quite important. And as it turned out, I had a monastery in hand with which I would not have been able to block. My opponent had a city cap with which they did, with which they would have been able to complete the city and get their meeple back earlier. So there were some tactical things like this. I think there was also a moment where my opponent didn't quite realize that they were no longer ahead and they were playing a bit too cautiously. So for example, with this here tile, they could have started a new city for 6 very easy points, but they didn't. And then I ended up taking that city and I ended up threatening even more points. They were forced to block me, add points to me, and in fact it was quite fortunate for them that I didn't drew the city caps needed for my city. So yeah, kind of things like these that add up. I think the main one is really just leaving this here city unattended for too long. I think this was the main one. Alrighty. But also, like, no, hugely bad moves. It's just, they're like these small things that add up and add up and add up. And also at some point I did draw quite... No, I got the screen name wrong. Wait a second. I did draw quite well with like 2 or 3 city plus road tiles in a row. Oh, with a slash. Okay. With an underscore, that is. Yeah, so we're going to be having 2 Carcassonne games in a row. So if somebody wants to play AZUL after this, do let me know. Of course, I will be accepting both Carcassonne and AZUL challenges, but it's nice to keep things balanced. Alrighty. high secret star. I'm not the starting player yet again. All right, but we do get the first city cap. We get the first points. And that's a good start. Yeah, Mr. Star starts a new city. Ooh, this is interesting. We could do this, although I wouldn't like it, starting a new city like this. We could do this also. It's a bit crazy, starting a new field, but why not? We could go here, start a new city like this. This could also not be great because they can go here, then start blocking one of my cities, protect their own city. You know what? I'm gonna do the unusual move for me. I'm actually gonna go here, and I'm going to start an exceptionally early field, and I might get into problems for that. Let's see. Normally, you don't really want to be starting field as a second player, because if it comes down to a big field fight, you're going to be at a slight statistical disadvantage. But, we're practicing here. Alright, so let's just do this, break our opponent's city a little bit. They're going to be picking up even more quick points from me, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, they might actually, you know what, they might even have a better move. Yeah, maybe they might have gone here instead. And started another city. I think this would have been more ambitious. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this, right? Trying to prepare a 6-pointer at the top whilst also continue the road directly. Now, I think the best move that I have is to try and block 2 of my opponent's meeples, and maybe it's time to already put a meeple of my own. I mean, it's a 2-point road. It's not nothing. Then Mr. Star probably has to try and protect that square towards a road monastery. It's going to be a high variance game, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on who gets the road monastery tile first. There isn't really any other move to consider than the one that Red had just played. I think they needed to decide whether it's worth dropping Farmer or not, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now I can either go here or here. I think I want to go here first, so that I can indirectly continue my road. As a result of like doing all these blocking attacks, yeah, my opponent is trying to finish their city. I know it's not a very strong move, like the probability is not great, but it is not 0 either. So I want to try and prevent my opponent from completing the city. It unfortunately won't work. But at the very least, my road is becoming quite decent. So that is certainly worth something. Soon I will have to start dropping more farmers in response. Yep. It's a good move. It's a good move. I guess I have to do something like this, as annoying as it is. I gotta continue my road. I gotta start a new city as well in order to not allow my opponent a new city, and soon enough, I'll have to drop some farmers. Or, you know, if I get a road monastery, I don't actually have to use the road monastery tile there necessarily. Ouchie, yeah, my opponent drops my farmers. They also set up a block of my road. If I go over here, I am subject to an even worse block on this square. So I think the best thing that I can do is actually just go here, start a new city, hope to get a farmer or something. You know, finish the city, drop a farmer, all of that. Yeah, of course, Secret Star has to go there. I don't have that many options. I think I can just go here or here. Yeah, I think finishing my city looks just fine. They are taking the 4 points. And this is one of those moments I am actually not going to go here. Instead, I'm going to go here instead, because it helps my road a lot, it helps my city a lot, and honestly, there's now a 50-50 chance my opponent is not going to get here, and if they aren't, well, then that's great. Ooh. Maybe I go here instead, actually. And because here, the monastery is kind of vulnerable, right? Because this square is not great. I think I want to go here. I think it's actually quite reasonable. Yes, exactly. I am going to build my monastery a bit more cautiously. And, you know, maybe I can win this game just by either drawing the second monastery or hoping that their second monastery is drawn late enough that I would be able to withstand its negative effects. Okay, also, like, I have some other things that I need to do. I need to go here quite soon, or next move, and then I need to go here and drop a farmer to do two things: to threaten invasion over here, and to also threaten to go here and permanently block the square, which actually it's a hugely important deal as well. Yeah, that's what they do. I could actually also go here as well. Oh, that would be so annoying. But no, let's do the important thing first. Wait, how important is it though? Because if we go here, yeah, it is important. It is important. There are some ways how we could get screwed over. So let's just not try our fate. Let's not tempt fate, or whatever the expression is. I can do so many things. Like, I can go here now as well. I honestly I quite like my position. I just want to be able to do all of these things that I want quickly enough. And I want so many things. Okay, so if we go here, for example, I'm restricting the square and I'm threatening getting a splitter, getting my meeple back without helping my opponent's meeple. This move is quite interesting. Does it force me into something unwanted? Maybe it does. Maybe it does not. You know what? I think I'm not going to finish my road yet because there is enough time. I think I can do this perhaps and drop a farmer. Or maybe even this and drop a farmer. I think I want to go here and drop a farmer and try and block my opponent's road and farmer, and I will succeed, and that's great. I will actually manage to, I think, destroy their game right here and now. And now I'm not even bothered about the road monastery too much. Okay, so this move, the move that I've been hoping for, will make sure that nothing ever fits into this square. Their farmer is capped at 12, but realistically 6 points. It's not making it into the main field, unlike this guy, which is quite likely making it into the main field. Okay. Then there's more things. They're now trying to block my city. And that's why I think actually going here and protecting it is the way to go. It's a bit of an unusual protection. But there are still 3 tiles that fit into this square, and 3 is actually quite a lot. So I think that this is what I'm going to do. They get the quadruple city tile, which I think they should, they should use it to unify the 2 cities at the top to not allow me Yeah. I thought they maybe they should have gone in here just to not allow me to draw a splitter. Maybe they're hoping that if I draw a splitter, then they get a city cap, and so they get to expand the scoring potential of this farmer a little bit. I can also see that coming. I will go over here. I will technically subject myself to a blocking opportunity, but I still want to do that. I still want to do that, yeah. Just because it helps my monastery a lot, and if my opponent does not get a blocking tile immediately, which is the case right now, then I can actually get a Dorito tile and threaten a true full completion of the city. Okay, they do get a meeple back, which is not great for me, but it's, you know, it's fine. It's very, very understandable. Now I'm going to make something very important. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to prevent my opponent from dropping a second farmer. It's quite important to eliminate that field connection platform, I believe, because otherwise it's way, way too easy for them to attack the field. We can also see that I now just drew a tile which is going to help me threaten the completion of a city, which is very nice. They probably should start blocking my road, which they can do. And I do not think I will have any opportunity to save it. But my road is actually not super important. It's more important that either I get the road monastery here, or maybe I get some sort of crossroad tiles over here. Okay. So now 2 options. Either I go here or here to partially save my road. I don't think it's worth it. I think we actually go here and try create another threat. I think this is better. I think it is significantly better, in fact. Yeah, they having, like, I think quite some big problems. They should also, I think, maybe go here and try to limit my road to a 50-50, because there's only one city crossroads remaining. But I have a 50-50 chance of connecting over here, and I also have a chance of connecting over here as well. Okay, but now their problems are not over. We just keep having threats and threats and threats and threats. We could go over here and finish this city, but then they could get another city cap and finish their other city. So I think I'm better off covering this city for a 88% chance of completion, because this is now very important. And then I still have a reasonable chance of completing my monastery as well. So I think this move is better. They have to try and block my monastery now. I think that's what they have to do. But even then, I have a... Yeah, I have like a 75% chance of completing my monastery. So I have a lot of setups. I have 1 tile over here, 1 tile over here, 3 tiles over here, and 2 tiles over here. This is a total of 7 high-impact tiles. So I definitely do not get to complain about that. Okay, what can I do with the tile that I currently have? Really not much. Could go here in theory. I don't see why I would do that. I could go here in theory as well, trying to eliminate an easy opportunity for them to finish, for them to score for a city. I think this is exactly what I'm going to do. If they're really, really smart, okay, this is a fine move. This is a fine move. But I think what they could have done, they could have also gone here and tried to create a hole for a road monastery. That's also been quite cool. Now I need to decide whether it's worth going here and protecting my monastery, and I kind of don't wanna. I really don't wanna, actually. Because they could just drop a farmer there. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna take 3 points. That might be wrong, but I really just want to take the 3 points and be done with that. Also, sometimes I can get both the 3 points and the monastery protection, so this is always nice to have. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I get to go here, maybe? That would be some good protection, I presume. Or I could go here. No, I think here is better. They don't have that many blocking tiles. They have 4 blocking tiles, and one of the blocking tiles is a scoring tile. That way, if we do it that way, then they just have more blocking tiles. I do have some defense tiles as well, but also don't want to expose the city cap. I think this move's fine. I also have some defense tiles as well. Yeah, and now just in time they show up before I can get the second splitter. So that is also quite good for them. Okay, now I'm going to go here. I'm going to try and... just going to try and protect my monastery from getting blocked. And successfully so, believe it or not. Unless they use their curvy tile productively, which is also not a given. This is a very interesting position. I'm down 22 points, but I have a lot of powerful setups. Some of them include the field invasion. Some of them include monastery completion. Some of them include city completion. I think I need to get 2 of these 3 setups in order to win. So maybe I would give myself like 60% or something. I wonder if they decide it's already a good idea to start dropping ninja farmers, which is farmers through the outside of a curve. Like they could go here and drop a farmer and invade like that. But then I still have multiple crossroads that can thwart them. On the other hand, they have so many meeples. If I am in their shoes, I'm probably trying it. So from my perspective, especially that I know that I have a tile in hand which doesn't do all that much, from my perspective, I kind of really, really hope that they don't do any of that. Ooh! They choose something completely different. Okay, so they go here. They go the compensation route. And they go the compensation route. And they try to just build a road. Honestly, makes some sense. Makes considerable sense. Now, I will continue with my plan of protecting my monastery from being blocked. And this is going to work just perfectly, right? Because there's not a blocking tile that fits over here. But, if I do that, do I meeple the city or do I leave the city open? If I leave the city open, I risk losing quite a lot of points, am I? Don't I? But then also sometimes I just lose that meeple. It's tricky. It's quite tricky, actually. You know what? So we are going here. But do we meeple that? Yeah, I think we do. I think we have to, unfortunately. And hey, it turns out, everything turns out to be just all right. as I will be getting a meeple back on my very, very next move. They should probably consider meepling a monastery somewhere, perhaps. But then they should also ask themselves, what are the odds of them winning without the field? And you only really should meeple a monastery like this if you think that you want to win this game without the field. They're getting a scoring tile, and they can use it either to drop a farmer, or they can use it to just get their meeple back from the road. I think dropping a farmer is a little bit excessive, but it could work. If they do drop a farmer, I think the orientation has to be counterintuitive. I think they have to do this and drop a farmer like this. So then if I get a curve, I'm forced to go here. But then if I go here, I inadvertently continue their road, and they get compensation from getting the hypothetical farmer touch this here city. There's even a route how their hypothetical farmer goes here through my monastery, like all the way around. So it's not a crazy move for sure. I still have 4 high impact tiles. Okay, fortunately they do it the other way, and I get just the crossroads to thwart them. I'm gonna trap their farmer. I do not think it was a very good move, because there were just so many blocking tiles available on my end. I think they should have thought about the other orientation instead. And yeah, now I'm also going to get some quick points for myself, and things are starting to look increasingly good. I still have all these setups, and now that they have trapped one of their meeples, I think I have a way of winning without hitting any of my setup plays. Yep, exactly. I have a way of winning without hitting any of my setup plays, I think. If I can just manage to block their city, which I won't, because I know that there's still 1 city cap with the road remaining, so it's useless. So I'd rather just take the 3 points over here, then see what they do. They're gonna try and block my city, which again makes a lot of sense. Makes tons of sense, actually. I have to go here. The question is, do I spend a meeple or not? I don't think I spend a meeple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 1 Dorito remaining, right? And even if they get that, I have a chance to block the city further. I think I have to do this. It is a bit annoying. I know it's a bit unpleasant to put shielded tiles anywhere in the vicinity of my opponent's cities. And I'm not really ahead, so I can't afford to do this with a meeple. So I think I'm just going to do this without a meeple and just see what happens. There's, of course, also the risk of my opponent using a triple city to continue their city, but it is what it is. It's not something that we can bother about too much. Also, I get a triple city, so that's nice. Now with this tile, I have 2 choices. I can either score 2 points over here, which has actually an additional benefit. If I score 2 points over here, I, first of all, eliminate some field connection opportunities that my opponent can use, and second, I make this here monastery square realistically unusable, because if my opponent gets the road monastery, they're gonna meeple the monastery there, Yeah, where was they're going to be meeple the monastery, but they will not be able to continue or recover this monastery because this here square will be already pre-blocked. So I think this is a good way to take 2 points. I could, yeah, obviously if I do take 2 points over here, it doesn't do anything favorable to the board. I could also take 2 points here instead, which would pre-build a large ruin which I can occupy, but I don't think that large ruin is in my interest really. I'd rather just go here and eliminate the monastery spot and field invasion options. Okay, so my opponent is now trying to block my city, and I get one of my setup tiles. The only question is, do I go over here and get a couple more points and recover my monastery meeple, or do I go over here? And I think I prefer going at the top first, because A, I will still be able to go over here, right? With another of these tiles if I want to finish my monastery. But there's also another reason. If I go over here, my opponent might be able to... what I was going to say... Okay, let me try to do this again. So if I go over here, my opponent might be able to just go here instead, drop a farmer, and try to invade my field through the last remaining city tile. Like this, through this here area, through this here dagger. That would be actually quite beautiful. On the other hand, if I do this now myself, I could be the one to drop a farmer here for 6 points and try to invade. This actually would be also pretty cool. Because I will have 2 meeples for this anyway. So what should I do? I think I still prefer going over here because I like the idea that the field is just super, super closed. And there's absolutely no chance of invading the field unless my opponent... there's absolutely just no chance for my opponent to invade the field. The only chance for invading the field is with me. Because, again, if I finish this here monastery eventually, then we will have no city caps remaining for this square. So that is not great for them. If I go over here, or over here, I will have the majority on the field and my opponent will just not be able... There's just no platforms to reinvade. Like, this here is blocked. This here is also blocked. Just everything is blocked. And I do like the fact that I still have the 75% chance of invading the field. And I have a meeple to spare, like I'm ahead on the scoreboard. I think I can even win the game if I don't hit my setups. But I might have to eat my words because my opponent is trying to create the opportunity for themselves to finish a 12-point city with a Dorito tile. And the only Dorito tile that remains is Dorito with a road. So going over here and trying to block is actually pointless. I would need to go there with a city plus field tile instead, or just a curve or something. Anyway, let's just keep scoring quick points because this is about the only thing that we can do. We could also just outright draw the tile that my opponent needed, but they don't know that. So they will instead probably try and just protect their city, which they should do. They absolutely should try and do that. But anyway, now that they will not be able to complete their city, I feel quite good about my chances. Even if I somehow don't invade the field, I mean, I have a meeple to spare. And I have only -3 points on the farmers, but I have a monastery and a road, which is way better than their city and road. I'm down 3 points on the farmers because the main field is equal, but the secondary fields here red has 6, and here yellow has 3. Reminder to you all that there's nothing that fits into that square. Yeah, this is a good move for them, and actually they still technically can finish that city if they get a triple city and then a city cap somehow, but this is quite difficult to do. I think I want to just score. I'm gonna get 5 points for this ruin. I want to already start spending my tiles. Now I get a curvy tile, which I will use for subsequent blocking. You will see how soon enough. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, so they go here for 7 points, which again makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm thinking I could do something like this, right? And this would force them to a very specific combination of tiles. They would have to get the last remaining splitter, and yeah, they have to get the last remaining splitter, and they would have to get also this tile as well. So I think I'm going to do this. The only disadvantage is that maybe if they get the splitter first, that could be quite annoying. If they get the splitter first, that could be quite annoying. They could cover up and then they could finish. But then no, if they get the splitter and the... Wait, right? They get 4 tiles. And 2 out of the 7 tiles remaining are... Yeah, you know what? Okay, I think this is fine. It's too long to explain, but basically, they can't draw this many critical tiles, is my point. Yeah, they have to protect, and it's a good protection. I forgot about this tile as well, so I'm not sure if my move was even correct. I think this is probably correct. Not sure about that one. Yeah, it should be fine. I get 6 points for that monastery. I'll then get a couple more. I might even successfully invade the field. They should decide whether they should set up the completion of their city or instead if they should just take 4 quick points. Either is really fine. I think taking 4 quick points is actually better. Yeah. For a variety of reasons, but this is where the position starts getting complicated. Turns out that I will not hit my field invasion setups, and they will be the one who gets the road monastery. But I still think it should be enough for me to win, shouldn't it? Yep. That move makes a lot of sense. They have the road monastery, and they can have the road monastery for, what, 8 points? I think it still falls just a couple of points short of what I have, because I have not 1 but 2 monasteries. I have a slightly longer road, and I still have a lead on the scoreboard, and I have a 8-point ruin as well. Yeah, and it might seem quite fortunate that I drew the last horse tile, the last triple city with the road, but the point of my endgame play that I didn't have time to explain is that there are many critical tiles, and just my opponent cannot draw all of them. Okay, so they happened to draw the monastery and the rose tile, but there was no way how they could draw the monastery, the rose tile, the dagger tile that frees up my monastery, and the triple city to complete their city. There was just like too many things that they would have to draw. Yep, and we, I think, end up winning this game. So the controversial decision to start an early field as the second player sort of kind of paid off. Yeah, but very interesting, complicated position. I'm quite happy about several decisions. I think the one that I'm happiest about is just this city being completed pretty much out of nowhere. It looked to be super dangerous. It was a bit of a counterintuitive defense over here. And then this farmer was super, super important to try to create at least the threat of invasion. And then, of course, blocking this here square was crucial, denying my opponent the road meeple, denying my opponent the expansion of their secondary farmer. Yeah, plus 14 indeed is the win. So this means that the completion of their city would actually have not helped in the north. Then what else? I think it was also quite important to go here to recognize that my opponent could have dropped a farmer in this here area, and it was possibly game deciding that we didn't allow him to do that. Yeah, so many critical moves actually here. Alrighty. Yeah, thank you, Secret Star, for the game. This was really, really interesting. So what do we have next? Next we have AZUL, right? Well, with self-evident. Yeah, sure. What's better than to finish the stream on a loss? I'm going to be playing against one of the highest rated players in the world. Wait. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Currently rated over 800, peak over 950. My personal peak is, I think, 898. Fell just short of 900. Or did I get 900? I don't really remember. Oh, great. Gladkey Alex is saying ready to play Carcassonne, so we can do this one after the AZUL. I think maybe like after a minute or so, we'll probably switch to Carcassonne because it says that. Oh, no. There they are. There they are. Yeah, I was just a bit worried that QAZ was a bit offline. Okay, maybe we have a chance. This is an amazing run-out for the first player. Yes, we are going to take the 3 blues. Please and thank you, and we are going to put them in the center like absolute no-brainer. The standardest of the standard AZUL openings is in order, and we're going to have a slight advantage no matter what our opponent does. I don't think there's a way to equalize this board. Yeah, I think this is the best that that Self-Evident can do. They take the starting player, they finish their own third column, but come on, this is just so good for us. I mean, we get this, we get 3 blacks at the bottom, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. I won't be able to complete row 5 this round, nor that I have to, but I am getting something from my row 2, I'm getting something from my row 1, and Ooh, but what exactly am I getting? That's the greatest question. What exactly am I getting? So again, I could just do something normal. I could take maybe reds and golds. For example, I could start with putting 2 reds on the very, very top, and then just assume that my opponent's going to leave the golds alone because they need the blacks over here. They need the blacks for row 4. I could take away the blacks from them, in which case they would put reds for row 5. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let them do this, I think. Yeah, I think I'm doing quite all right. I think it's the best that I can do. And now I'm happy with either golds or reds, but of course my opponent's going to give him the golds, and I think this one works. Just because also, like, I'm setting up quite a lot of scoring opportunities with 1 red and 2 reds in future rounds. It's a pretty decent start, I think. Whereas for my opponents with the 1 blue, it's a little bit awkward. Like, they will have to sacrifice. They will have to basically, there's no way for them to build up the first 2 rows of maximum efficiency when you have this particular configuration, which looks like a little, I don't know, flipped triangle or something. Then it's too long to explain, but basically we need to sacrifice some efficiency. Also, what we see is that the run out for the second round is actually not great at all. We're very limited in supply of whites and blacks, which happen to be just the 2 bits that I need the most. My opponent takes away the blacks from me, but they do give me the opportunity to be the starting player next round, which I will wait. Will I, though? Yeah, I'll take it. I think it's just too good. I could also consider doing row 3 instead, but no, never mind. The reason why I had some reservations about my move is because I will put myself in a position where I don't have a good place to use the blues, but because my opponent needs the blues anyway, I don't have that much to worry about. And so if I'm ever in a position where a lot of blues get grouped in the center and I'm forced to discard, it's probably a position in which I don't mind being, because this means that my opponent does not get to put the blues on their board. And also, like, the starting player advantage is just too good. I also, at some point, get to threaten 3, how do you call them? 3 yellows in row 3. And unless my opponent, like, takes... Unless my opponent creates takes away them immediately, which they don't... Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. I don't think they are in such a big hurry to finish the row 5. Okay, so they end up doing this. Which, you know, makes some sense. Ah, okay. Do I just deny them the row 5 right now? Maybe? Or maybe I let them have the row 5 and just have myself an efficient row 3. I could do that too. Maybe we just have the row 3. Yeah, I think I want to just have that. I really don't mind them having the row 5. I know it sounds a bit weird, but I think that it might just be correct. Because there's also there's a situation where I can threaten 2 whites as well for row 4. That would be quite nice. A bit difficult to explain, but just trust me. Trust me that there's something to it. There is something to it. Anyway, my main point is, yeah, they get to complete the row 5, but they also, the ordering becomes a tad inefficient for them. Okay, I think I want to do this. Wait, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? Yeah, basically the point is like they're gonna score fewer points if they complete row 5 before the row 4. That's the explanation. If I take the 1 gold how I wanted it, then they are going to end up taking and then they're going to end up taking 1 white, and then I'm going to... It's like I'm just trying to calculate in my head a little bit. I don't think I'll be able to say all of this, but basically I'm trying to avoid getting stuck with too much in the floor. And I think this might be the way to do it. Or do I take the 1 red first? I think we take the 1 red first, yeah. And let's just see where this brings us. I think it might be a situation where my opponent gets to fill their row 3. But if they're not careful enough, I get to fill in my row 4. Or yeah, that's quite an interesting option for them. Ah. Do I ever No, I don't think it makes sense for me to sacrifice, really. Yeah, I'll just have to do this, and we will end up filling our best rows, and I will be ever so slightly ahead, I think. Ever so slightly. They will use the... They will take the 1 black first, I think. And then either... Oh, I think it's a slight imprecision. I think they should have taken the 1 white, the 1 black first. Yeah, because now they're forced to discard 1 more tile than they had to, I think. Alrighty. Yeah, they get a lot of adjacency bonuses from the blues, and they do get to finish the row 5, but they are finishing their things a bit out of turn. So I have a lot of scoring potential in this round. And whoa, 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 whoa. Will you look at that? So quite some juicy opportunities for scorings with reds. For scorings with reds. Yeah. But I don't think I should be in a hurry. I think it's more important to take care of our bottom row. I think I'm going to do this first. Yeah. Because the reds is like it's a nice bonus. It's 3 points, yes, but there are only so many reds there. The whites, so the point is like I only have 3 slots for reds, and if I get overexcited and grab them, I might just not have time to get some other key tiles, and also just general, like, reds are actually quite low priority, and just because we can get them in one move does not mean that we should. Yeah, my opponent is not doing great in this round. I mean, they don't have enough blacks. That's the big problem for them. And I think I should really complete all my minimums. I will be able to get myself the whites for row 4. I probably will be able to get myself the reds for row 3. If I don't, it's whatever. Yeah, they get the one. They get the whites. It's a pretty good strategy for them. It's very smart for them to get the whites. What happens if I go 1 white, he goes 1 white, I go 1 white, he goes 1 white? Then there's an option for him to make me discard quite a bit, perhaps? Huh, but should I be just not worried about it anyway? I don't have to go for white straight away in this round, although ideally I would want to. Ideally I would want to, of course. You know what? Okay, I take 1 white, he takes 1 white. Everything comes down to the center. He takes 3. Nah, I think I'm gonna... Let's do this first, I guess. I'm gonna let him have some whites. Yep, and now let's do this. Just to take care of the things that we need first. And I think there's a way for me to avoid too much stuff on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, here's my plan for this. Like, I saw that if we take whites 1 by 1, then I just get into an unfavorable position a bit too quickly. So maybe what I get to do, I get to at some point make 2 whites converge at the bottom and kind of threaten them in one go. And that way my opponent will be forced to either discard 2 whites or just let me have them. But instead they do this. Which, I do understand. I do understand why they do that. That's actually a pretty good move. That's quite unfortunate. Ooh. Right? Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, let's just let's do the normal thing that's expected of us. Yeah, and then they do that, which also makes a lot of sense. We will be forced to discard a little bit, but it's also quite interesting that they now cannot take 3 gold for row 3 because it will force them into a larger discard. So they have to do something like this, but then I discard 3 and they get to do this, which gives them fewer points. So I end up discarding not that much. They do disrupt my scoring efficiency in row 4, unfortunately, because ideally you want to finish your row 4 before row 5. But I think we're still doing all right for ourselves. We just need 1 measly white, and it's an amazing run out for me. They have nowhere to put their whites. They've clogged their row 5, which I think they shouldn't have done. And is it resignable at this point? I'm not sure. Maybe not, maybe not. Because if they take the 2 blacks now, it kind of leaves me with a quite of an awkward set of 2 golds. Yeah, I think if I'm not careful enough, they can actually score quite a lot this round. But I will be careful enough. Surely I will be careful enough, right? All I need to do is just calculate the number of... all I need to do is just avoid getting stuck without white or without blacks. Crafter is in mean that I'm asking about the previous round. Why not 3 yellow at the top, avoiding them to get the yellow into row 3? The yellow into row 3 actually doesn't score that much for them. It only scores 3 points. But if I take 3 yellow at the top, then I discard more than they get from the row 3. So that's the problem. Yeah, exactly. Discards matter more. Okay. Option 1, I could just take the golds. It's not bad necessarily. Option 2, I could just let them have the starting player tile. I could them have everything they want. Maybe it's that. Maybe I should just do that. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do this. Just gonna try and score as much as I can this round. Yep. That move makes a lot of sense. Let's now pick up this. And then we're just gonna pick up whites and blacks one by one. Yeah, that move makes some sense as well. But now I think I can just pick up the... I can pick up these. Is there a sufficient number of whites? This is what I'm trying to decide. Is there a sufficient number of whites remaining? 7, 9, 10, 16. Surely, surely this should be, right? Right. Wait, okay, so this is also one option. But I have other options as well. I could just go... I could just take the blues for row 1, by the way. Yeah, I also could just take blues for row 1. That is also an opportunity. Okay, what if I take the blacks now? No, taking blacks now just does not work. I think I do take the blues here. Yep. And I think this is a way how we'll leave our opponent without row 2, perhaps. I'm not too concerned about them getting row 2 and 3. I don't think that's ever happening. Yeah, because if they take the golds, I take the blacks, and then I will discard some 1 reds to prevent them from complete row 2. If they take the whites now, which I think this is what they should do, then I take the blacks from them, they take the reds, and then I take the gold. Or is the other way around? I think there is a scenario where I might not have enough whites to complete rows 1 and 2 in the next round, but I do not think it's something I should be worried about, because if I can deny my opponents row 1 or row 2, then it's okay if I don't have them. And also, like, I get 7 points from the whites in row 3 as well. It's quite significant. I think with the favorable run out that I had this round, I could have played it perhaps to even like a greater effect. But I will have enough of a minimum advantage. Yeah, and they, I think, find their best move. So what should I do? I think it's quite obvious. Yeah, we just take the one thing that we can take. It's also the most efficient, like the way I'm building this up, it's the most efficient scoring as well. I will obviously not discard the golds. I'll just place them over here, and let's see what we have. Also, I'm curious, how many golds are there remaining? Is there a way for my opponent to threaten 2 columns? I do not think that there is. They would need 4 golds for row 4 to threaten column 5, and they would need 1 gold for row 1 to threaten column 2. I do not think this is actually possible, but it is. It actually is possible. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. I think we might just get ourselves a game which goes into round 6. No, because I have 3 blacks. I can finish the game by finishing my row 3, and this is what they recognized. Oh. Yeah, of course, with plus 16, I want to finish the game as soon as possible. And there's no way how they're building 2 columns, because yeah, exactly, they know what they're doing. And now, of course, I will do this. I'm not sure about of course, but this is what I will do. Yep, they get these ones, and now we'll need to decide what's the best way to finish the game. So I could just do it the normal way. I take 1 gold, they take 1 gold. I then maybe take 1 black and force them to discard. They would actually discard quite a lot. They would end up discarding 11 points. And maybe this is what's worth doing the most. I could also take 2 blues, in which case they would take probably 2 blues, and I would take 1 blue and also force them to discard. Or this might not force a discard at all. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do this instead. Maybe this is wrong. Actually, I have a suspicion that this is wrong. I'm pretty sure this is wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is wrong. I should have just played simpler. I should have just played simpler. I think taking 1 gold was better. But I'm just trying to be greedy. I'm trying to build a beautiful row here. Yeah. Oh, actually, never mind. They end up that way. I think they made a mistake. I think they had to take 1 gold there. Because now... Will they be discarding more? No, I messed up. They are not discarding enough. That is the issue, yeah. They're not discarding enough. They didn't make a mistake. I'm the one who did, but I do not think it will end up... Oh, no. Did I lose? Did I just lose? I think I might have. I think I might have just lost. Okay, that was very, very bad. I really shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have done that. I think overestimated my lead. What I should have done is I should have just taken 1 yellow over here. They would have taken 1 yellow over here, and then I could have just made them discard way more points. And instead, they ended up discarding not all that much and catching up on the scoreboard. Okay, so this was a perfect example of how to not play last round. This was also a perfect example from my opponent how to not give up and try to create the opportunity for your opponent to make mistakes. Also, yeah, like one thing about overcomplicating. Like, if you see a way that just wins you the game, just don't do anything more fancy. Oh, wait, now that I think about this, was there a way for me to actually win even after my first mistake? So after I took the blues here. Nope, I don't think I was. When my opponents went here. Ah, yep. That's what created the problem for them ultimately. Wait, let me think about this. Was I even winning? So if I take the yellow and they take the yellow and I do all that and I group 5 blues, they could just go here. No, but yeah, but they will end up discarding a bit more. And as a result of discarding a bit more, they will lose by 3 or 4, I think. Yeah. CraftRef is saying, what a turnaround, great content. I mean, it would have been great content if I'm the one that were to be winning. I don't really like blundering games like this. All right, well, it will be good practice. It will be good practice to just stay vigilant and not overcomplicate things. Before that, I think the first 4 rounds I played just fine. Maybe in the 4th round there was a way to leverage my advantage a little bit more, but honestly, when you're the starting player and you get the first 3 blues like I did in round 1, you really should convert these sort of advantages. So not proud of this one, but of course a lot of credit for my opponent to actually taking advantage of that. All right. So what's next? I think it was a Carcassonne game. No, let me just check your screen name again. Gladkey Alex, exactly how do you spell that? Oh, with an I. Yep, there we go. So this is our next Carcassonne game. It might even be good to wrap up after that. Hi, Gladkey Alex. All right, so now I'm not the starting player in this one. 4 points already on Misha's scoreboard. I'm gonna start a new city over here. Standard move so far. Of course, my opponent's going to bend their road into my city. This is the first real decision point. I think I still want to equalize the road, even though there's sort of plenty of reasons not to. I'm trying to build up my city. Ooh, I don't think that's a very good move because it helps my city too much. So what I'm gonna do now, I think I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna cover up. Oh, or do I just take 3 points? I mean, 3 points is also pretty good. But going over here and having the chance to completely cover up such a juicy city, I think it's a chance worth taking. Because now my opponent sort of kind of has to invade. And I will be able to start pushing red around a little bit. So if they're going to go over here, they're going to leave an empty city cap. Either I'm going to start a loop road, pressure this here square. Maybe I get a meeple of theirs blocked or something. Okay, this is definitely a mistake. I think leaving my city unattended is a little bit too dangerous. I will proceed with my plan. They will still build up points. Maybe what they're deciding to do is that they just want to outscore my city. They're not interested in invading it. I could go here and try to block my opponent's city. That could be good. But I think just making the standard move of breaking my opponent's city is best. They do successfully build up in this area. But now I will finally get to cover up over here. And that's what matters the most. Oh, what a farmer. What a farmer. That's a good farmer. I think it might be a tad early, but I can go here, actually. Oh, that would be quite annoying. And I can, with that move, set up one of the 3 tiles to equalize the road and equalize the farm. Or I could do this and make something just a bit more normal. And I think I want to be a little bit more normal for now. Ouchie, ouchie. Oof, boy do they score a lot. And I could have prevented that by going there with my monastery, but I didn't. So what did I do here? I think I just pick off the empty city cap. And not sure about that move here. I think it's certainly quite ambitious in terms of the farming here. Let me just drop a farmer in this area and see what happens. Let me also try and set up another farmer like this. Anyway, so I'm trying to explain I just want to explain what I'm doing here. I'm not sure if my farmer was correct, actually. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a crossroads here that would leave this here farmer isolated, and I try to penetrate here myself as a result of completing my city. My opponent is trying to build up his city, I think. Now, a move like this is in order. I want to prevent that as soon as possible. They get a lot of these quick points, they get, and getting increasingly tricky for me. I think I have to make this move as uncomfortable as it is. Ouch, and they keep scoring and scoring and scoring. Well, finally I get my crossroads. That's super important. And I get to do this. The orientation of the crossroads might have been wrong, I'm not sure. But what's done is done. Okay, well, I get a bit of something. I get a very valuable tile immediately and a good farmer with that. They try to prevent me from completing my city. I will try to prevent them from completing theirs. And okay, my farming position actually looks already maybe not that bad. They are starting a new city in their field. I think I should go here, continue my road, and also start threatening their city. I think that would be in order. And maybe I can also start blocking their city at the top, yeah. I could also set up a monastery, but I think I need to try and finish my city at the bottom. So I'm going to do this. They're getting some more additional quick points. What can we do? Maybe something like this? Just trying to block that city permanently. That could be a way to go. They can protect if they want to. But there's still only one tile that fits here anyway. Okay, they do protect, but it does cost them a tile. I think I want to go here and try and block their city eventually. And they're going to try and block mine. I get a road tile. I don't have a great use for it for the road monastery. I could do some blocking here. I could go here, which sort of expands his farm. I could go here, which actually... No, I think I want to... I know it expands his farm, but I kind of really just need meeples back. So I'm going to just do whatever it takes. Okay, so my city is almost blocked. It's quite close to being blocked. But it's whatever. I can either try finish it or I can forego it and try build up the monastery instead. Now I can maybe build up the city at the bottom, but I think going here and preventing my opponent from getting meeple back is also quite important. But I can also do that later myself. I think doing this is probably a little bit more aggressive because I just get to score more if I'm successful. Like, I get to draw tiles like this. And now suddenly I'm really, really threatening to complete the city. It didn't work. But my meeple will be worth 8 points at least. So that is worth... Well, that's worth something. I should have spent longer. I should have actually considered if it's worth covering up the other side of the city first. I do not think it was. Do we go here now? We might actually have to go here and block my opponent. But I think I want to wait for a little bit of a better tile. I'd rather just take quick points here. And then try block with something less valuable. And, oh, it turns out to bite me so hard. Yeah. Tricky situation. I think I now should prioritize getting meeples back. So I'm just going to go here and... well, it turns out that my efforts would have been futile regardless. So I guess we just expand our field. Oh man, this is quite rough. This is quite rough that he gets even this. Yeah, a lot of points was going my opponent's way, but we're still not gonna give up. I think we should now go here and still give our best shot at completing our city, but something's telling me that he has a big tile in hand. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a big tile in hand. And he's going to prevent that from happening. So, I think... ooh, that's interesting, actually. I have a legit chance of completing that city, I think, now. But if I do here... If I go here, then I'm limiting that chance. I'm limiting that chance quite a bit. So what should I do? I mean, I could just honestly get a meeple back from the monastery and not worry about this sort of stuff. Or I could... Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to save at least one meeple. It turns out it was incorrect, but it's a judgment call, okay? I made a judgment call. It was a call. It was a call. And I think I just need to try and maybe take over one of his fields somehow. There is still... There's still a Dorito tile that can be used for completing my city here. So I think I'm just going to go here and set up some farming platforms. And I'm going to start using these platforms already. He's developing his farm, which is, of course, what he should do. And I think for me now it's time to risk a bit harder. It's time to go here. Yep, and just do a proper field attack like this. Please don't block me. Okay, he doesn't. That's good. Please don't block me. We're gonna go here. Try and prevent him from scoring if we can. He does this, which is good for us, I think. Because it doesn't really do all that much. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only one Dorito tile that's... No, this was the last one? Oh, come on! Okay, so this was the 3% situation where my opponent ended up drawing 5 out of 5 Doritos. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't think there's all that much that we could have done. But you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna find a solution. Because with this move, I have a chance of getting into the field this way, like all the way around. I don't think that the requisite tiles are there, but I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. Okay, so here's... It's just not gonna do all that much, right? Let's just score points. Let's just... Oh, that's harsh. I was gonna say, let's just enjoy the last bits of the game that we can have. Okay, if anybody up for one more after this one, then do let me know. It was like a little bit too quick, if you ask me. Ouch. I'm also gonna end up... not losing the final field at the very least, but I'm gonna be losing this one by a heavy margin. Honestly, I think if I just get the road Dorito, do I even win? Because like it felt like the position was bad all the time, but I don't think it was actually that bad. I think I really want to calculate the alternative points towards the end, because I do have a bit more in the field in comparison to what he has. Like, it's not even that big of a difference. Yeah, so these here two guys, unfortunately, score just 3. This one's 9. Okay, so 20 points is the difference, but actually, if we complete this here city, then that would have been an 18-point move already straight away based on the farmers, because we're expanding our field by 9. No, this is even more. Yeah, honestly, this probably would have just won the game. So it was way closer than I thought. If we just get like one of the 5 Doritos. So, so this would have completed the city in this field, right? So then we would have gotten 12 extra points for these farmers, and we would have subtracted 9 from our opponent's field because we would have taken that field over. So that's 21 points already. Then, for completing the city itself, we turn a 6-point city into 14-point city, so that's 8. So that's a 29-point move, and we need to account that we're losing 2 road points to our opponents because we prolonged the road. So that was a 27-point setup, actually. And maybe if we do get that tile, then the game turns out differently. There was also an alternative. I thought of maybe trying to build this city like that. But I don't know. Maybe there was some additional win condition. I kind of felt that since we've invested the farmer on the right and since we were already trying to complete that city, that we should really try and double down with that approach. And I think it was correct. And also, like, we did successfully create a bunch of threats elsewhere, like here. I think it was a decent try. Although one might argue that it was just better to equalize. I did like the idea of creating a threat here and of maybe later trying to block my opponent's city instead of invading it, and we're actually quite close to doing this. So I think largely reasonable moves. Maybe I didn't have to commit on the farms that early, maybe that's another thing, but I do quite like that field invasion, at least from a tactical standpoint. It's very efficient because I still need the Doritos to finish my city, and if I finish my city, I might as well accompany it with a farmer. Yeah, I think it was an okay game. Oh, Trichosaurus, all right, yeah, of course. I'll play you. I presume Carcassonne. Oh yeah, I can just do like this. In case, yeah. Yep. Craft Giraffe is suggesting that I would have won by 7 points. I think so, yes, but also we need to take into account that like my opponent could have had a different tile to score. I think this actually was a reasonable scenario where I end up winning by a draw. If my opponent gets a starting tile, they score 7 points for their field. And then well, I get points for the city. Also, actually, I get meeples back, so it's quite a bit complicated. But anyway, felt quite desperate, but it was closer than I thought. All right, let's go. In case any of you don't know, in addition to already quite a decently rated Carcassonne player, Trichosaurus is like a Catan YouTube superstar. I think possibly one of the first one to post quite elaborate and popular strategic advice. And possibly formerly highest rated player on colonist.io? I think so. Y'all might correct me, those of you who know. But yeah, those of you who are into Catan, of course, can't recommend Trichosaurus' channel enough. Okay, so far natural moves at the start. I finally get to be the starting player. Shriek with blue meeples take this road. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try and enter a favorable mini battle against Blue's road, and I'm also trying to exert a little bit of pressure on this here meeple. What if I get a Dorito tile, and then might be in a situation where I have, with one meeple, I control 2 of my opponent's meeples. So that could be quite good. Blue now gets a monastery tile. I think there is one, well, there are 2 good squares for it. There's the 4-pointer at the top, there's the 5-pointer at the bottom. I prefer the 5-pointer not just because of the number of points, but also because it controls yellow's city, which is quite annoying for yellow, aka me. And all I have to do is just cover it up on this side, and now I'm set up. I'm all set to try and finish that city. Quite interesting what to do here from Blue's perspective. Again, lovely monastery. They might either go for direct stacking, in which case I might choose to play against this square perhaps, or they might do something like this. I think I would have preferred direct stacking, yeah. So if you're going to basically tie 2 of your monastery meeples against this square, you might do it in such a way that gives you more immediate points. Maybe Blue thought that this here square is a bit dangerous, but it isn't, because it's very difficult for yellow to try and start blocking this square hypothetically without adding points to blue. This was also an alternative, but then this square becomes a little bit vulnerable, and so does this actually. So yeah, but definitely 3-point monash is going to help. I'm going to take the 3-point road. That's quite favorable for me. Now, very curious to see what Blue is going to do there. Are they going to try and restrict my city and go for sort of protecting their point? Because if they do restrict my city, it will give me... It will sort of trap 2 of their meeples, but it will prevent me from scoring 8 points and getting my meeple back. Now I get a favorable tile. I can either finish my road, but I'm not in a hurry. I'd much rather do something like this. I'd much rather tie his meeple to mine. Yeah, and now they end up attacking the city, which is very, very interesting. It's a very committal play. I think it's a good move. If they get the Dorito, they kind of equalize all my cities, they get to develop their monasteries and all that. It's all very good for them. Let me just do something like this. I think I do not want to go here and try to block my opponent, because then they might get another city cap, and then they might even reinvade and just win the city outright. It's too big of a threat. I'd rather just start doing small things like this. I want to start a new road, and I just want to prevent my opponent from getting more road points. That's it. That's just what it is. So I want to prevent them from drawing crossroads and easily scoring. This is an interesting move. They kind of like are restricting their own monastery. But I might just let them do that. I might just have these points. This move is also a possibility. This move is also a possibility. I might start pressing against that square too. Yeah, getting the 4 points is quite tempting. I could also just go here. I think I'll go here. I think I'll start and try to block their monastery. This is what I will do. Because this is the penultimate starting tile. And if I go here, which I will next turn, this will create a Sophie's Choice block situation. There's only 1 starting tile remaining, and there are 2 places where blue needs it, here and here. So I will probably end up getting some sort of a meeple advantage. Yep, they start a city at the top, which makes sense. I am going to continue with my plan. Just like right before they were going to block. Yeah, so blue is trying to finish their city. Quite wise, I can't really access it. And now I'm debating between this move and the content move. I mean, we are on stream, so we're gonna go for the content move. I'm gonna go here and gonna try and take over his city. And it appears to... Well, I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but I think it's quite a worthy effort. And even if I don't win that city, there's some scenarios where I can block multiple meeples of my opponent. I can also go here now to advance one of my roads. Oh, look at this. Blue actually gets the last remaining starting tile. Yep, which is used here. It says good prioritization. Now that monastery meeple actually could end up completed. I'm going to go here and I'm going to try create additional pressures and threats against this square and against this square. Not sure. Well, actually, I do. Yeah, that's a good move as well. Trying to limit the number of tiles that go into that square so that I don't take over the city. I want to go here first. I want to prevent my opponent from drawing a splitter tile. Yeah, I want to prevent them from being able to save their other meeple. And it's also important because now with some big tiles and there's still plenty of triple and quadruple cities in the deck, I get to build up over here whilst their meeple is going to be stranded for 1 point. Yeah, blue is in a bit of a tricky position, but their position can be solved with pretty much one tile. If they get the Dorito, then they get to go over here and they get to drop a farmer for a decent number of points. They can get a curve. They're going to get a lot of points for these monasteries. And I think they're even going to be at an advantage. If I am blue, the move that I'm playing here is probably this one. Just trying to block my city a little bit and also taking advantage of the fact that there are no starting tiles remaining. Should just make it a little bit more difficult to recover meeples for me. They make this move, which I'm not sure. I see that they're trying to save their meeples, but it comes at such a great price. Like, I'm gonna score so much for that city if I complete it, then I do not think it is worth it. And if I don't go there, and if I don't score points for that city, well then it will be a case of several blocked meeples for them. Now, actually, honestly, I don't even know if I should go there. I think I will, just for the sake of the points. It's just so many points, and we even get to drop a farmer there. And also, they're not even guaranteed to finish their monastery. And yeah, you just don't say no to a 16-point city, really. Yeah, so I think if I were blue, I would have just left that square alone. And there's some scenarios where they get to put this tile over here, but then get to block this square later, so that they manage to save this monastery without, but also they managed to trap everything over here. So there were options, I think. Still quite a reasonable move. Yeah, like understandable move for my opponent for sure. Because let's say if I were to get something like a dagger or a rose tile, then the situation would have been way worse for them. Because then I would block the monasteries and also free up one of the meeples. Right, well at this point, I think our best course of action is just to go here, see if we can permanently block their meeple or not. They should probably defend. because there's still a couple of tiles that fit into that square. Now we need to either finish this city or finish the road. And honestly, finishing this city might be the more responsible. This is like what a responsible adult does, right? Right? My city's in danger. But also, I really like playing efficiently, so I'm just going to do this. Finish the road, start a new city, open another one. They might be able to attack my city at the bottom if they choose so, but it's fine because they will need to spend a meeple on it. Also, this position is actually surprisingly playable for blue. If they get their monastery meeple back, if they get their city meeple back from the top, reasonable chances for all of this. If they equalize the farm, then they have pretty much the same winning chances as I do. That's a good efficient move. Yeah, the idea is to start a new city and also to pre-build a road which goes through their city, which they can meeple upon completion. That's actually very smart. And they do finish the city. They don't get the road, but you know what? I get the road. Yeah. I think this is a good moment to go for a compensation road. It scores 4 points. My opponent's road is going to score, well, less. So my opponent's city scores 2, but if they finish the city at 6 points, my road is going to become 7 points. I think it's generally quite a good idea. I get a monastery. They get a monastery meeple back too. They even now have a meeple advantage, which I did not expect. But I do have this 9-point field under my control. I'm quite happy with that. Now I have a monastery. I could either go here for 5 points, but I don't wanna, because they can very easily block this monastery. I could go here for 5 points, but I think the best move is just to go here, because I get to not only build up my monastery, but I get to also like continue my road and so on and so on. I think that will be quite a good thing to do. Then I get to finish my road and also drop a city cap next to my monastery. I do not think I'm going to meeple that one. The game is evening up. I think what I want to do to win this game is to just keep the position closed and keep scoring. This is my main plan. So for example now, instead of going here, which is the natural move, I might just go here and try to start a 4-point road. I think this is exactly what will happen if my opponent makes their natural move, which is to finish their city and start a new one. Hi, Misha. Yeah, well, 5 out of 5 triangles, it's obviously like a little bit difficult to deal with, but I think there were even some scenarios where I lose the game even if I get the triangle, so. And I'm not sure, they could have been like some alternative win conditions to set up. Anyway, it was a fun game. Yeah, referring to the previous one. So I'm only up 3 points on the scoreboard, which really makes me want to be efficient. There are still 5 crossroads remaining. So I think I want to do this. Aha. So they're gonna score a little bit. And I think at this point, I could go here and drop a farmer, honestly. That would be quite fun. But I think I just want to chicken out and get a meeple back. Because there is, yeah, I could have, maybe I could have like been a little bit less chickeny. I could have just taken care of this open city cap. But then, if I do that, my opponent gets a lovely 9-point field for themselves very often. And I think what I want to do, I want to get a curve and drop a meeple on that 9-point field myself. That move is actually pretty good. That's really, really good. So they want to be proactive in the 9-point field, and they also given themselves an opportunity to score for the city cap. Oh no, scratch that. Turns out that there's not a single city cap that fits here anymore. So it's going to be a 6-point field instead, which honestly at this stage of the game is also quite decent. Now, I do believe I want to go for this 6-point monastery. It might get blocked, but at this point, 6 points is quite a lot. And I still have a meeple to spare. And I can get that meeple back quite easily as well. There's a quadruple city tile that they probably have to discard. There are no real good uses for it, although you could make an argument for maybe going here. This would create an opportunity for them to like drop a farmer and invade like this. I think that would have been just slightly preferable to a discard, but really not that much that they can do with this tile. Yeah, just getting meeple back here I think makes the most sense. I prefer this orientation for a variety of reasons. By variety of reasons, I mean that there's sometimes scenarios where I get to go here with a horse tile. I get to score 2 points for the road, and I get to indirectly continue my city. It's quite far-fetched, but it does. Such an opportunity does exist. Okay, I have a curvy tile with which I could finish my road, but I'm not in a hurry to finish my road. I think I'd rather just go here and make it much, much more difficult for my opponent to complete a city. And then also drop a lucrative 6-point farmer. I think this is more important. And as I said, I can just simply finish the road on my next move. Yeah, these 6-point farms in closed positions are just more valuable than it might seem, because as we're running out of monasteries, for example, there are just not that many places on the board where my opponent could use his 3 meeples. So I'm trying to be as aggressive as possible with these farmer placements. Hi Soldado, thank you for the kind words. And also we see that blue is invading my field, and we finally get to have a meeple back from the road. A scoring tile for blue. We also get 6 points advantage on the scoreboard at the moment. Okay, yeah, so that's a good move for my opponent, because they score 2 points, but they also prevent some city expansion opportunities for myself. They also don't allow those high scoring setups that I talked about with the triple city tile, and they don't allow me to score for both road and city. Now, with this here tile, I have 2 options. I can either do the normal move and continue my monastery like this, or I can do this. I can do the abnormal move and try to set up one of the 3 remaining, actually never mind, one of the 2 remaining tiles which allow me to score both for the city and for the monastery. So there's the sausage tile, there's the triple city, and there's also the splitter tile, by the way, that could go here. That would actually be quite fun if that were to work. But then if I go here, don't I just get more opportunity to recover my monastery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 1 curve. There's a lot of these. There's 3 road Doritos. Yeah, I just get more stuff that way. So this is the more fun and the more efficient way to do this. I think this is the more sure way to do this, and we're gonna go with that. Okay, so my opponent finishes their city. which is what they should be doing. Also, it's a bit alarming to me that there is one road monastery remaining, and with this one road monastery, my opponents could actually achieve quite a lot. So this game is very much possible to lose for me. Even though my soon-to-be completed monastery on the left is going to give me quite a lot. So I wonder if it's crazy to go here and drop a farmer here myself, trying to prevent my opponent from invading too easily. I think it's a little bit crazy. If I'm gonna do this, I'd rather wait for just a slightly different tile. Yeah, let me do that first. Let me just score a little bit. Yep, and my opponent also does score themselves, taking 3 points and almost equalizing. This is a bit scary. But how about we just start a new city here? We could even start a new potential ruin like this. But I think if we go for the city, there's a legit chance of us trying to complete it, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there's so many Dorito tiles. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I think the threat is just too good. Oh, and they're going for a city of their own. This is just going to cap them at 4 points, but it's something. Okay, what do? I could just go here and finish my monastery. This is probably the safer of the moves, but I, of course, think that it's way, way more interesting to try and actually set up the city ready for completion, so we're going to do just that. I think that's what's worth doing the most, in fact. And the only way how they can disrupt my city is if they finish my monastery for me. Yeah, that move makes a lot of sense. Just one city point. In fact, now I think there's only one triangle tile remaining to finish my city anyway. What could I do? I'm not sure what I could do, but I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just going to drop a city cap here and try to develop my field on the left. That can score me a little bit. That also makes it a bit difficult for my opponent to invade some of my fields. Yeah, but they do have quite a nice move. Let's see if they spot it. Yeah, they could drop a farmer over here. That would actually be an amazing find, because then that way they can go either way for my 9-point field here. I think that would be quite good. In the meantime, I get a city cap tile, which can be used in a couple of interesting ways. And I think I know which one I prefer. I could either take 7 points over here for this field, but this field is not guaranteed to be mine because my opponent could invade it. Or I could do this, finish a monastery, and set up one of the 2 remaining triple city tiles to finish a city worth 16 points, and I would probably prefer that. It's just too valuable. That is amazing. That is a really good find for the fields. Yeah, a lot of credit goes to Treek for the field vision, and not that much that I can do. This invasion is virtually unblockable, so I'd rather just continue with my setup. And I will end up hitting my setup, which is a very enjoyable thing to have. Blue is, yeah, probably going to go invade the fields, probably meeple the monastery as well for 7 points. Why not? Yep, exactly. I think meepling the monastery for 7 points was actually the best, just because you're not going to score more than 7 in this situation. And I ended up having myself a 20-point city, even something I did not expect. But yeah, here comes the block of my city. Here comes the final move from Treek, and I'm gonna also grab myself a 4-point road like this. Yep, good game. Yeah, very interesting opening again, like lots of tight situations, like lots of blocked meeples. I think this here city was certainly something that I feel I got away with. Just generally it was quite difficult for my opponent to play against this here soon to become 8-point city. Anything stood out? Anything stood out? Nothing in particular that I can think of. It's most usually like kind of tactical decisions, just on a case by case basis. Yeah, I think it's really just about trying to not let me finish the city. But even after that, the game is very much playable. That was a very good idea, trying to build up this road through the city. So good thing I managed to catch that. And then later on, yeah, the position was so close that it was just quite difficult for yellow to come up for blue to come up with anything. Alrighty, that should be enough for today. Thank you all so much for everybody who played, and for everybody who didn't get to play. I'm holding one of those next week. I'm going to try to do this a little bit more often. So then, in order to not to miss the next streams, just make sure to subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this. And yeah, meeple the like button if you enjoyed anything about today. Help out with the algorithm. And that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you soon.